Whoa, 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 wait. Back up. You met an angel horse? I gotta hear this. Start over. You can't just drop that like it's nothing. You're right. That happened during the 3-day walk in the Spirit. In a vision, I was cleansing my childhood church, remember? Oh, yeah. You talked about that a couple weeks ago. It was either the first or second day I met the horse. After cleansing the nursery and praying for a woman named Jean, I went to the next room, which was the children's ministry. You mentioned a lot of traps and goldfish crackers. Oh, yeah, goldfish. The children were quarreling over them, which led me to a passage in the Bible. That room was like an evil Easter egg hunt. I found cartoon-looking spirits hiding in the toy bin, in the cabinets, and one in the door frame. One by one, I cast them out. There was also a pumpkin patch growing way out of control. I got the sense that it was from the kids being way too excited about Halloween, which was coming up in a couple months. This was August 2024. Anyways, soon after that, I noticed there was an upside-down horseshoe above the door. Aren't horseshoes a good thing? Not this one. It was upside down, which represents luck falling out of the shoe. So it was bad luck. It was all rusted and used. It seemed like bad luck would fall on anyone who walked through the door underneath it. I took it down and prayed over it, and I asked the Lord to bless it. It turned into solid gold. Or maybe it was gilded gold. I don't know. I turned and saw Jesus quietly watching me from the entrance. I handed it over to him, not sure what to do with it. He looked at it, smiled, and then he handed it back to me. What did he do with it? I tried putting it right side up back on the same spot, but it didn't feel right. Horseshoes are still a superstitious thing, you know? We're supposed to rely on God alone for good fortune in our lives, not silly objects. I went back to him and asked, Jesus, is there maybe any heavenly horses that need a shoe nearby? There's war horses in heaven, right? I read that you would ride one during Revelation. He gave a knowing look and indicated I should go by the other door. Through the same door the horseshoe used to decorate, in walks a big cream-colored horse. Oh my gosh, he was gorgeous. I tried and failed to not giggle with delight. Shut up, I love horses. I mean, how could you look at that long face and big brown eyes and not fall in love and want to pet its velvety nose? I'm sure the Lord got a kick out of my reaction. After I calmed down, I hesitated. I mean, how was I supposed to put it on a hoof? I asked Jesus, but he didn't say anything. He hadn't actually spoken aloud to me at all yet at this point. So I knelt down and was like, well, okay. I guess I'll just stick it on? Kneeling down, I presented the horseshoe like an offering plate. The creamy horse raised a hoof, one that obviously had thrown his last shoe. He still had the other 3 shoes. And then he pressed his hoof down on it. Honestly, this was quite the Cinderella moment. It was a perfect fit. I'm sure the horse felt very pretty in his golden shoe. He kind of gave me a kiss on my hair with his horsey lips, and then he left. Jesus stepped aside, and the creamy horse left out the other door, which somehow both doors had widened for the horse to enter and exit. It was a really big horse. That is so cool. Now there's an angel horse with a gold shoe. Yep. So what happened next? The high schooler room. It was a lot like the kids' room. When I first got there, it was dark, and this eerie light came from outside the windows. The shroud of the spirit of oppression was everywhere on campus, marking its territory. I'd have to turn on the lights in nearly every single room of the church, open the blinds or curtains, and often clean the windows of grime. Everything was grimy from neglect. Aren't pastors supposed to pray over the church grounds? Pastor Jay said he had. But he also said that he had never done a thorough prayer like I was doing, going from every single room to every single closet. Well, the teenager room was a bigger mess. My sister actually joined me in prayer for this part. She can see in the spirit too. Yes, but she didn't pursue it like I did. I believe she has the gift, but it's largely untapped. I was glad to have her help, though. Bigger kids, bigger sins. Instead of fighting over goldfish crackers, hormones probably pointed to immorality and adult themed sins. There was a lot of pride, lust, and anger there. The spirits connected to those sins were there as a result. Leviathan, Python, and on the ceiling, I remember a big paper wasp nest. The nest was full of hexagons. In my mind, I heard hexes, like witchcraft type hexes? Yeah, what else could it be? I burned it down with holy fire. One by one, the wasp died, and the nest fell down into ash. My sister found another one and told me there was a jellyfish living in the sink drain. She pulled it out and cast it out to the sea. The pipes were either a portal or an energy drain. I told her to fix it however the Holy Spirit led her. She told me she tightened the pipes with a holy wrench. She was doing her thing and I was doing mine, and we'd tell each other what we saw. At this point, there was a spirit that took its time leaving after I cast out the name Lilith. I was doing a drive-by deliverance, kind of like anointed fire. Some things would be called out and they would appear in the vision, and other times I'd call out a name and they just weren't there. This one was a young preteen girl with lavender-colored eyes. She, much like M, glared at me. She said nothing as I continued banishing other spirits away. I think she had been there for a long while. Not the Lilith? My sister asked the same question. I don't know. I know some spirits share a same title, like Officer Brian or Officer Julie, or Dr. Clark and Dr. John. I think someone had mentioned that, like Anointed Fire or somebody in one of their videos. I don't remember. This was like 2 years ago. Eventually, this Lilith left. That room was finally clean, and only then did I see a plump, prickly pear cactus growing near the entrance. I sensed no danger, and it was so full of ripe fruit, I let it be. Where else did you see the shroud? Oh, lots of places. Almost every window, really. It was outside the offices, too. In there, my sister actually found her first humanoid demon. The way she described it was so ridiculous. She said, "What the? There's like a tiny demon guy on the reception desk throwing papers everywhere. He looks like a pencil pusher a-hole." And then she said, "Oh, apparently its name is Delighting in Wasting People's Time." I learned later that this breed of demon was a spirit of delay. There's a whole genre of delay spirits. I've encountered so many over the years. There was also a monitoring spirit on the far wall, looking very much like a security camera. The last thing I remember from the reception desk area was a shape-shifting marine spirit that my sister found. We prayed over that thing and eventually moved on. The conference room was dark, and again, that eerie light came in from the shroud of the spirit of oppression. I turned the lights on and we found 2 withered plants. One appeared by the large windows behind the long conference table. The other was high on a shelf to the right. One spirit resided in a book. After kicking it out, we watered the plants with holy water, and my sister saw the window plant just burst with life. Its vines started growing like crazy, crawling all over the floor and eventually climbing up around the windows. I didn't see it, but she did. And she was almost in tears. She grew tired and tapped out soon after that. We divided and conquered. She took on the bathroom and I tackled the closet. Oh no. What? I just remembered the next part. Okay. So, the broom closet. I open the door and expect just cleaning supplies and stuff. But no. Out pours boxes, and the broom hits my head, and this small, pug looking demon gremlin thing jumps out. I scream, and the thing must have heard me coming because before I could even pray against it, it hightailed it out of there. This thing booked it. But oh no, it saw a pair of feet in Jesus' twos and it screeched to a halt. The Lord was there at the end of the hallway and the pug thing just ran right into him. That poor evil thing. I don't think it expected to meet his maker until Judgment Day. They stared at each other. Jesus stared at the pug, and the pug stared back at Jesus. It was so awkward. And then it slinked away like a dog that had just been scolded. Oh, that's cold. I know, right? I know you're not supposed to feel bad for the bad guy, but for real, I was eager to move on too, but Jesus stopped me from continuing to the offices for a second crack at them. Again, he sort of indicated the rooms related to the pastors were not my fight. And so ended day 2. I was tired and I took a nap. It's almost time for me to leave for work, but before I go, I have to ask, how is walking in the spirit different than astral projection? Like, how do visions work? Back then, I actually took inspiration from astral projection. Do you remember how Doctor Strange does it in Marvel? On day 1, I thought, in the spirit, I can be anywhere. I know my childhood church like the back of my hand. I can just imagine myself being there instead of driving over an hour to be there physically in the valley. So, you were astral projecting? Isn't that dangerous? Oh yeah, for sure. No one taught me this. I was just going for it because I saw it in a movie once. Which is why I'm so glad that Jesus turned up when he did. I didn't know how dangerous it was. I was so new to it, and these were some of my first visions. I wasn't even sure if the visions were actually real until I told Pastor Jay about them. And when he confirmed what I saw with stories from the 80s and that he knew a woman named Jean who worked in the kids' ministry, just wow. It gave me the courage to keep going. I'm 100% certain Jesus was protecting me in my ignorance. I mean, he was literally watching over me the whole time. When he first appeared, I was busy casting out things, and I told him to wait a second. Afterward, I quickly turned around and I ran up to him like a little puppy dog, going, "Hi, Jesus, I love you. Hello, I'm so excited. I can't believe you're here." Oh no, for sure. I would totally be excited too. What do you do differently now versus then, though? I rely on the Holy Spirit and His power, not mine. I got so tired during the first few months because I didn't think to ask for help. I was relying on my own power and not His infinite power. Again, I didn't mean anything by it. I was just naive, a beginner. Eventually, Jesus taught me easier, correct ways, and better ways of doing things. Cool. Let's meet here again soon. I want to hear the rest. Sure thing. I'll see you next time.